Alrighty, so the first two game from match week number 14 is in the books. These two Saturday matinee game have just finished a couple of minutes ago, and this is a quick time for me to do the review of it before we get to the busy Saturday night action that's about to start. And let's jump straight in by talking about the first game, which is Seattle versus FC Dallas. And I got to feel for Dallas in this one because, coming into this game, we knew that they were going to be up against it after suffering a heartbreaking PK shootout loss to the Red Bulls, and now you have to fly across the other side of the country on a short week and on an early kickoff as well. This was always going to be impossible for them to get something out of this game, but still, Peter Quilt's side almost got something out of this game, and in many ways, they really play a great road game in this one, and didn't really show that fatigueness that I thought that this team would be as the game goes late in this one, but unfortunately, they did concede a late goal in this one. They were so close in terms of getting a massive point coming out of this game in a place where they usually do not get points when they face against the Seattle Sounders, especially when this game is at Lumen Field. Now, in the first half, Fiera with the game's first shot, but he heads this one over as I thought the Sounders were on the front foot. They were pressing for the opening goal. Pedrinho puts it wide from long range. That also came with a bad turnover from the Sounders. The turnover was a big issue for the Sounders early in this game. There were a couple of really sloppy plays that almost they were made to be punished. But then there was a shout for a penalty for the Sounders not given, and then there was just a chaos resume after that. Ferreira twice had a chance to poke that one in and finally scored his first MLS goal for the Seattle Sounders, but he missed both time in terms of it. Yeah, it's safe to say that Jesus Ferreira is still sniping and just simply cannot buy a goal for this Sounders team. He has had a couple of assists for this team. In fact, he actually had a lot of assists so far in his names. But as a number nine, that deep down goals are definitely a bigger things to put in your stat chart compared to assists. I mean, assists is not a bad stats for a striker to have. But you talk to any striker and they want that goal tally next to their name, and the fact that he hasn't got one again, you just kind of wonder, is it starting to get into his head again? Now, in the 14 minutes, show would hit it right to Fry. There was some concern for the Sounders as Yamar had to be subbed off with an injury. John Bell replaced him there. The Sounders team has had their fair share of injuries so far this season. It's been a while. We've seen Jordan Morris play for this team. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, been on and off the pitch, and he wasn't available in this game as well. But in the 22nd minute, Rustak would have a shot that was deflected and goes wide. The shots were 7-3 for Seattle up to this point, and really it was all Sounders up to this part. But the problem is they can't find that final ball and finishing. That is kind of the reason why this stays scoreless. Bubakar would then hit it right to Fry before De La Vega hits it wide from the free kick, and we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Kamungo would hit it right to Fry as the Sounders continue to dictate plays, trying to wear out this tired Dallas team. I mean, you just kind of had a sense that with all the possession that the Sounders were getting and with so much defending that Dallas had to do in this one, you wonder eventually is the fatigue going to show with this team. Now, keep in mind it didn't have a couple of players that played in the middle of the week available in this one. In the case of Lucho Acosta, he was not available because of yellow card accumulation. But for Pedro Musa, he only played 30 minutes in this one after playing the full 120 in the middle of the week. So again, they were being very handicapped because of so much minutes that they play, not only in the last couple of games, but because of the middle of the week. But they were still hanging in there. Fry would then deny Benedict from close range as Ibiaga then hits it right to Fry. And as I said, Dallas are getting some good chances. Didn't expect this team to defend so much in this game that they started to craft some chances and really started to grow into this game. So in the 67th minute, Rusnak would put it wide from close before Nuhu would hit it wide from the corner. And again, the Sounders were knocking on the door for the opening goal, but they finally get some. Well, they thought they did in the 75th minute when Manungu would put the ball into the back of the net. Problem was the flag did not agree with him. The goal was disallowed for offside, and it was very close. I think his right hand was in an offside position, but nevertheless, pretty much besides his right hand, his whole body was pretty much level with the last defender. But yeah, obviously when even your hand is in an offside position, they're always going to call offside because of that. So yeah, no goal. It remains scoreless. Abubakar would then puts it high from long range before Musa would hit it wide from close in the first minute, and you kind of had a feeling like this game is up for grabs, which is something I don't think Sounders were thinking that was going to be the case because they're thinking, isn't Dallas tired right now because they're still defending really well and are now even looking to trying to steal all 3 points out of this game. But in the 85th minute, penalty was given to Seattle. Actually, I wrote Dallas there. It's actually Seattle the one that got the penalty, but Ukahadi would handball this one in the box. So here comes Albert Rusnak, a chance to finally give the Sounders a 1-0 lead that they deserved, and they did exactly that. So it's 1-0 up to this point. Mundo looked to respond, but his shot was deflected wide. Derizario then looked to end it, but he was denied by Paz, and that would have been a huge moment too, because literally a minute after this, the post would deny Abubakar from close range. Yeah, if that one went in, I'm pretty sure there is a real and the Sounders team would look back at that miss chances because again, even you're up 1-0, this Dallas team they show that never say die mentality in this game trying to get a result, but unfortunately it was all for naught because the Sounders, it wasn't a pretty game but for them in any means necessary, but they do get the 1-0 win in this one. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 16 that Dallas had. Both team had 5 shots on goal, 4 shots off target for the 5 that Dallas had, 3 shots that was blocked for the 4 that the Sounders had, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to the 40% possession that Dallas has in this game. And like I said, I thought Dallas played really well in this one. Consider the circumstances. This was a game that I thought they played really well and put definitely more resistant than I thought they would get the Sounders in this one. But the frustrating thing coming out of this game, at least if you're Peter Quill, you have nothing to show for it because of giving up that penalty and that penalty and the handball by Uga Hardy, it was clearly a handball there. It was the right call, and that was kind of the difference in terms of a game that, like I mentioned, late in this one, it was really up for grabs. It just feels like whoever's going to get that Luka opener most likely is going to get all 3 points. Now, moving on into the next game and the second game of the doubleheader. Well, I said it's the second game of the doubleheader, but there was time where part of this game was overlap with this one because this one kicked off at noon and this one kicked off at 1:55 p.m. So this game was still kind of going on a little bit. So I didn't really watch at least the first couple of minutes of this game, but that being said, this was a game where, yeah, if you're the Galaxy, I mean, this feels like it's a familiar story for the Galaxy this season, and really throughout the last couple of games. I mean, if you just not look at what they did in El Trafico, it just feels like the pay meter in terms of this loss is right up there again. Where once again they gave up a late goal to lose the game, and not get anything out of this game as well. Now the first shot of the game happened in the 6th minute as Yoshida had that, but he puts this one over. I thought the Galaxy started well with the transition against a San Diego side that likes to have the ball. You're going to see teams that are going to play for the transition against San Diego. Consider, they're going to have a lot of the ball. You can try to maybe hit them on the transition because of them maybe pushing them their lines a little bit high. And I thought this match kind of maybe in some way could favor the Galaxy because the Galaxy at times do like to hit on the transition. And one of the reasons they like to hit transition is because of Joseph Painto and Gabriel Peck. Painto has been really lethal on the transition moment, but this season he just have not been himself. Same with Gabriel Peck as well. He puts it just over from close range as the shots were 3-0 for the Galaxy up to this point. Lozano with the game's first shot for San Diego, but he hits that one high before Sanabria would hit it wide from close in the 24th minute. Maitin then had a shot that was deflected and goes right to Makovic. So Makovic getting the start in this one. It's been a revolving door in terms of the goalkeeping spot. And how many times I've said when you have a revolving door in terms of that spot, yeah, you're not going to do very well in a season. Not a lot of team in this league does well in a season if they have a revolving door when it comes to the goalkeeping position. But the shots were 4-2 for the Galaxy up to this point. Neither of them really kind of have been golden opportunity by either of these teams. There was a huge shout for a penalty for San Diego as Mike didn't feel like he was brought down by Nelson there. I don't know. I think that would have been a soft penalty in my opinion if it was given, but nevertheless it wasn't given. Godoy then with one from a couple of yards out as San Diego definitely have woke up. It was a bit of a slow start for Mikey Vera's side, but they started to press for the opener. And I say it's a slow start mainly because of the chance creation. They kind of play the style that they have when it comes to dominating possession, but really aren't kind of creating a lot of chances in terms of the dominant possession that they had, at least in the first 25 minutes or so in this game. But that being said, in the 34th minute, De La Torre would heads it wide from close range. But then in the 40th minute, the Galaxy takes the lead. It's Fagundes. He scored from Royce to make it 1-0 in favor of the Galaxy. It's a beautiful build up there for the Galaxy. And just kind of look a little bit like the Galaxy of last season. There's been times that even as bad as this season has been for the Galaxy, we do see a little bit of the old Galaxy and the MLS Cup winning team as well in terms of the build up. And here, Royce plays a good ball to Fagundes, and Fagundes show his class finishing on the curler, and just like that, the Galaxy have a 1-0 lead. And before they have a chance to maybe think about enjoying this 1-0 lead heading into halftime, that lead quickly disappeared. In fact, it only took 62 seconds for De La Torre to equalize for San Diego. He scored from Verskov and Komuto to tie the game up at one apiece, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. In the second half, Fagundes would puts it high from long range as San Diego continue to dominate possession, but not really happened at least early in the second half. Pinso would then miss wide from close. We then had some coming together as Fagundes and Lozano had some choice words with each other. Something tells me they're probably not discussing what's the best breakfast burrito in San Diego that is. But in the 61st minute, there was just a chaotic moment where the Galaxy gave the ball away in a bad spot, and even their goalkeeper Mikovic gave the ball away in a terrible spot as well. But somehow, in some way, they were not punished as San Diego couldn't take advantage of it. And I even wrote, if that one went in, that would have been such a poetic way to sum up the Galaxy season. I mean, this season I know that the Galaxy have shown at times this season they've been very there's some unlucky moments, but there's just times where they just keep shooting themselves in the foot and create these boneheaded play that is no wonder why they're still winless heading into this season. And just a little spoiler alert, yeah, that would be the case later in this game. That is kind of the reason why they didn't get anything out of this one. But in the 70th minute, Lozano had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. And really, as the time winds down, you just kind of feel like it's still up for grabs. Just like this one, you just kind of had a sense that there's a chance that both of these teams could get themselves the winner in this one. Godoy would puts it over on the header before Dreyer would puts it over on the free kick in the 87th minute. Very quiet game for Anders Dreyer. I tell you what, wasn't late in this one. Royce would then miss wide from 10 yards out before Lozano had a shot that was deflected wide. De La Torre would then heads it wide from close range in the second minute of stoppage time. San Diego was definitely pushing late to try to get the winning goal. And they do. As in the 5th minute of stoppage time, Chucky Lozano would score from Dreyer to make it 2-1 in favor of San Diego. And he deserved this goal too. I mean, Lozano has done so well to get himself into space, but the problem for Chucky this season is that he just haven't been shown that clinical finishing. Well, this time he finally showed that clinical finishing and reward San Diego of why they are he is the showpiece player for the San Diego side. So yeah, that made it 2-1, but at the same time, you just kind of had a sense that this moment also just kind of sums up the Galaxy season. Once again, conceding late goal and just beat themselves again. I mean, Garces just completely miscleared this one, and here comes Dreyer, which, as I said, he had a relatively quiet game in this one. He goes on a dangerous transitional attack. He put in a good ball to Lozano, who hits that one in, and yeah, I mean that if that's not the reason why the Galaxy have now gone 15 games without a win, or well now 14 games that is without a win. I don't know what is. I mean this has just been a nightmare season. Probably by far the worst season we have seen a defending MLS Cup champion and a team start this season as well, and it just feels like there's it's a never ending cycle right now with the amount of pain that this Galaxy team has to put through their fan base so far this season. But the shots in this one, 13 shots for the 9 that the Galaxy had, 1 shots on goal for the 2 that San Diego has. Both teams had 6 shots off target, 5 shots that was blocked for the 1 that the Galaxy had, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession that the Galaxy has in this one. And I believe this is the first opponent that San Diego has been able to do the double against their opposition this season. Obviously, they still have a couple of teams that they haven't played twice, let alone once this season. But nevertheless, it wasn't a perfect game for San Diego. In fact, I didn't think that they played well in this one at point. But hey, at the end of the day, they get the crucial free points, which is just so important for a young franchise like that to continue to build some momentum and continue this incredible run of form that they have. I don't know if they can break the points total that LAFC set a couple of years ago, and I don't know if they can finish first place in the West. Well, probably. I don't think they're gonna finish first in the West because the West this season it's very strong and it's still a way point away from trying to catch up to Vancouver in terms of that first spot. But there's no doubt that this team is having a dream expansion season, and whereas the Galaxy, it's been a nightmare title defending season. Can this team actually win half of the season without a win? I mean, that would be mind-boggling to see, even an achievement that I don't think any Galaxy fans, even the most pessimistic ones, would think that this, of course, is the case. And what's kind of interesting is that this is coming after just a couple of weeks when Greg Vanney signed a new contract extension. So all this talk about, is Greg Vanney going to get fired because of this historic bad start of the season? Nope. Seems like the front office is really trusting in that him in terms of the spot. And the players have also said that they back Vanny, and I think that's kind of the reason why he's not going anywhere. But nevertheless, I mean, they are on verge. If they don't eventually get their first win, or eventually continue this bad run of form, they're on verge of having the worst points total ever in MLS history. I mean, the when you look at where at the pace that they are actually on verge of the worst points total in MLS history, and might not even reach the 10-point mark because of how bad things have got for this team. There you have it. That is pretty much it for my review of these two Saturday matinee game. And as I said, we got a busy Saturday night action before tomorrow. We have two more games. One that is a matinee game on Sunday, and then of course the Sunday night soccer game to wrap up this match week between Atlanta and FC Cincinnati. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.